Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and apparently we have a bug off going on today. This is Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, I already said that. Let's see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today, which is the bug off. So now I'm done saying the intro twice, just mixing up all the words into some sort of weird, I was going to say vegetable stew, that's not what I meant. Word salad. We will, I don't know, there's nothing really much to talk about. I mean, the whole big news was yesterday, the fact we've got Animal Crossing updates coming. And I said I wouldn't talk about it again because, you know, I can't talk about the same thing for like one entire month, I suppose, until it actually comes out. And that's... Anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 5 PM on Saturday, September 25th, 2021, final bug off of season, runs till 6 PM today. It's not actually that important we play it because I believe... Yeah, we've done the September bug off. It was the August one we missed out on last year, which we already done. And we've already got all the trophies and the prizes from this, so it's not really a big deal. But I don't know why I said it's really a big deal. I did the umbrella one. I definitely had that before. I think so. If not, sorry, Audie, it's gone now. But yeah, we're just gonna vibe. We're gonna play some Animal Crossing. Of course, it being Saturday. Oh, we should see if anyone's moved into our empty lot. Apart from that, I don't know. What can we talk about? Like what I've been up to. And today, not much. Play some games and watching videos. That's about it. Didn't even do some programming today. Ooh. Like, what's the word? Something thought. It's not cherish your thought. It's like what's that phrase? Where it's like, oh no, like imagine, but like it's always used in a sarcastic way nowadays because it's such like an old-fashioned terminology or that sort of thing. Well, terminology is not really the right word, but old-fashioned colloquialism. It's perhaps a bit of a better word to use. We are just going to quickly check who, if anyone, has moved into the empty lot, and if someone has, who it is. Otherwise, no one has. This is actually incredible. Do villagers just not move into empty lots anymore? Is this what's going on? Of course, because it's the bug off, we will do it. But also, we can't give Phoebe the present. So the only thing we got to do is some mission farming, and I guess we'll, you know, do it, and then also try and get at least one ticket for Nook Mile Island hopping today. Yeah, what have I been up to? Mostly I'm just watching Northern Line, watching some Draw Thief, that sort of thing. Those are definitely the two YouTubers I watch most. A little bit of Keen, who plays TF2. Now, well, not now and then. I mean, like, I watch him now and then. I don't mean, like, he plays it now and then. He plays it all the time, from what I can tell. Normal Line's playing a lot of WarioWare, and honestly it looks kind of fun. WarioWare is one of those games I've never actually... I don't think I've actually owned any of those games before. I'm trying to think what ones they even had. They had, like, one of the DS? Was that the original one? WarioWare, like, Get It Together or something? And then they had WarioWare on the Wii, which is WarioWare Smooth Moves. I remember the release of that one, but I never owned it. But for some reason, I feel like I played a decent amount of WarioWare, but I don't know how. Did one of my friends own it? I honestly can't remember. Or maybe I did own it, maybe... No, I think one of my friends had it or something. If you don't know what WarioWare series is, it's one of the two series, I think, which feature Wario predominantly, one of them being Wario World, which hasn't, you know, had a release since the Game Boy version, if I recall. And WarioWare is this one, which is the whole Wario... It's not family, per se, but Wario... universe. The extended Wario universe, or whatever. And there's a lot of different characters, you know, you've got like Mona, you've got Kat and Anna, you've got Cricket, you've got Mike, you've got other people. And WarioWare is basically just a minigame collection where basically the entire premise is you have about 5 seconds or so to, do any minigame that gets presented to you, and they'll basically just give you like a verb or an action for you to perform, and you have about like 1 second to figure out what to do, and like the rest of it at the time to try and actually do it in the allocated speedrunning sort of period that's given to you. So it's all about being fast. I'm not going to steal that away from you, Apollo. I wish the villagers actually caught the bugs, I'm going to be perfectly honest, but instead they just have a swing and a miss, and it makes me feel bad if I steal the bug away from villagers, especially if I don't need it, you know. They might take many years to grind out all the golden trophy or points required for it. But yeah, it would just be like bake or something, and you'd be like, oh, you have to push the uncooked loaf into the oven or something like that. Or it'd be like wash, and it'd just be like a t-shirt and a laundry machine. You had to like spin the laundry machine or something like that to get the clothes washed. I heard a bug. I don't know. Oh, well, there it's gone now, I suppose. So it's very sort of fast-paced, very high-octane action, I suppose. it was like never a dull moment. You're just constantly like going, bam, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, just performing actions over and over and over again. And it's a very frantic type of game, and in a good way. I don't mean it in a disparaging way, of course. Everything I say about these sort of games is always good fun, because that's what it's meant to be about, isn't it? And sometimes you want like some relaxed gameplay like Animal Crossing. You know, you could take a step back, there's not much pressure on doing anything, and sometimes you want a bit of high intensity octane like interval training with WarioWare, because it's not really interval training, but you know what I mean. Anyway, the most recent ones come out. I actually don't know what the subtitle is for it. WarioWare. What's the one on the Switch called? Oh, wait, the one on the Switch is Get It Together. Oh, the Game Boy one was Get It Twisted. Hold on, what was the DS one? WarioWare series, Super Mario Wiki, always there for me when I need it. Let's see. So WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, first one on Game Boy. The WarioWare Twisted on the Game Boy Advance, that's one I remember I saw, and also WarioWare Touched is in one on the DS, that's it. Smooth Moves on Wii. Snapped, don't remember that. DIY, Game & Wario, don't know about WarioWare Gold, and then WarioWare Get It Together. Well, basically, in this one, the gimmick is you got the same sort of premise of you have like a couple of seconds to figure out what's going on in a minigame and to solve them, but this time you control one of the WarioWare characters from the Wario universe or whatever, and they all have different movement patterns, and they all have different ways of solving a problem. So part of it's like you have to figure out basically how to use whoever you are best to your advantage in the current thing. Okay, hold on. Chop down tree, chop down wood, plant a fruit tree, okay? You have to, basically figure out very quickly what the best course of action is for your character, and then you have to apply it to whatever minigame you've got going on. And it's all very hectic, it's all very crazy, it's all very fast-paced, and that's the point. But it's even more, it's like layers upon layers, because not only now do you have, apparently no fruit in our inventory, not only now do you have the challenge of trying to figure out what's going on in the minigame and then like executing it, even once you've done that, you still have like a huge amount of characters to play and learn as. You have to figure out what you have to do as that character. So it's not like instead of just like having a 1D dimensional thing of just like a list of minigames and trying to figure them out, you have like a 2-dimensional thing. It's like, oh, I got to figure out this minigame, but I got to figure out how to do it while playing as like Lisa, or you've got to do it while figuring out how to play as Piero, who for some reason is in the game. Very weird. If you don't know, Piero was... Well, I don't know if Piero was originally from this, but it was like a DS... It must have been like one of the Wario Micro minigames, but eventually, like, the reason I know it is because it got ported to the DS as like a mini sort of minigame you could download from the App Store for like 200 like Nintendo points or something, which basically like you play as a bird and she like shoots out her tongue at like a 45-degree angle to catch bugs or something. Anyway, I don't really quite record. Get out of the camera. And it's sort of like yeah, you basically get a snapshot of time where you have to figure out exactly what you're going to do as about one character and how you're going to solve a problem. Of Dorian Gray. No, of I don't even think that's what the title of the Dorian Gray one. Isn't it just called Dorian Gray now I think about it? You just have to figure out exactly what you're doing, and you know, you might not take me for it, but like, you might look at that game and be like, that's not your sort of game, dear. That's like, aren't you much more of a methodical planner, the sort of puzzle style person? And yes, that's very true. I do like my puzzle games. I'm not always for high intensity action. I do like my chilled back story based gameplay, but you know, I can certainly see the sort of appeal in playing that game. I mean, I played it before and I've had a ton of fun playing so I was just trying to figure out what to sell WarioWare games before, and I don't see why this would honestly be any different. To be honest, it just looks like a heck of a fun time. For all, apparently there wasn't enough things to sell. Customize. Okay, let's catch some bugs and fish. Or so that's hopefully enough in the end. Make sure to hit some rocks too. Sorry, let me have a sip of water. And one of the reasons I do like WarioWare series so much, I think, is even though I've never owned any of the games, there's this old Flash game back on like the early days of the internet where you can play mini games. I can't remember what site it was on. I'm trying to think. I don't think it was on Miniclip. It might have been on Congregate, but I'm trying to rack my brains. It's a little bit all mixed up in there right now, to be perfectly honest. I think it was maybe it was on Addicting Games. These are just like early 2000 throwbacks for you if you weren't on the internet, I suppose, at that time. Where it was called like 4 second something, where basically you had or maybe it's 5 second something. 5 second showdown? That doesn't sound quite right in my head, but I honestly can't remember. Basically where you would be, it's just basically WarioWare, but like a minigame version. You have 5 seconds, and you got to figure out exactly what you're going to do in those 5 seconds. You got like some tasks to do, of course, because they're not beholden by necessarily IP laws that Nintendo would do. You can feel free to rip off many other things, or other like popular Flash minigames at the time, from what I recall. And I was like, oh, you know, it's a grand old whale of a time, and I really enjoyed it. But you know, now I think about it, I enjoyed playing that game a lot, but I never took to actually buying one of the WarioWare games. I swear I had one of the WarioWare games though. Am I losing my mind? But I don't know which one I would have. Because I don't remember owning any of them, but I remember collecting like all of their little like tchotchkes, a little like souvenir things you can get in the Wario games, and you have like little mini games you can play with them. Like one of them was just like a paddle ball. I remember that for some reason. And there was just like counting how many times you could do it. Oh, I swear I owned one, but I can't think which one I'd own. My guess, I probably owned WarioWare Smooth Moves. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's like, you know, because you go to China, sometimes you can get these games where are they legitimate, are they a little bit more sketchy? Who knows? I might have, that might have been one of the games I got. I thought I just saw a present there. I bought, and that's why I played it, and that's why it was very, very early on when I had my original DS back in the day, rather than when I started playing things more with DSi and then eventually with 3DS. 3DS XL Pikachu version, mind you. But yeah, where was I going with this? I don't know, this fish is turning around a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so WarioWare's cool. And honestly, it seems like a Switch version's like actually a big change up from, not like necessarily a huge change up from the series. It's still got like the same sort of hectic, frantic action, but it looks like they've actually started developing the game a bit more rather than being just like, because if I recall, they basically just had like story modes and challenge modes. In the original WarioWare's like story modes where you just like unlock these mini games, or in challenge modes where you can just see like what high score can you get. Because they have this thing in the newest version called the Wario Cup, which is essentially kind of like the equivalent of like daily runs that you have in some like roguelike games. It's not quite daily runs, it's more like weekly tournaments, I guess is probably a better comparison. Where basically some sort of gimmick appears and you have to basically score as high as possible, and you know, you're on like a huge leaderboard with, well, not a visible leaderboard, but like an implied leaderboard, I suppose, with everyone else who has a game. And really, it tempted me to buy the game because I was like, that seems like a lot of fun. But then I'm like, I don't really want to play the game that much, to be honest. It's like, would I rather play this or would I rather buy a puzzle game? And you know, I thought about it and I was like, a puzzle game. But to be fair, WarioWare in itself is kind of like a puzzle game, but the first time you're presented, it's like rapid fire 5 second puzzles, which, you know, I still like. They're still puzzles in the end, aren't they? But it's not quite the best. It's not quite the best cup of tea I could have. It's not like the slow planning, much more convoluted puzzles that you get in Talos Principle, which by the way I haven't recorded an episode for ages because I'm not trying to let the backlog catch up. But the only things I need to record right now is Life is Strange, which I haven't done for a while because it's a bit draining playing a story game all the time. Sometimes there's a lot going on, there's a lot to focus on. So yeah, maybe I'll play a bit soon, so I can sort of like interweave it. Like one day record Life is Strange, every day record a different game. That's normally what keeps me going. But as of right now, I got just Life is Strange to record. But yeah, I guess WarioWare is kind of like a puzzle game, and it's very rapid fire. It's not like you're playing it being like, oh, I'm expecting really challenged, difficult puzzles like Baba's U style or anything like that. But you got things to, you know, work out. But of course, there's always the problem about once you do enough of the puzzles, eventually you got them all worked out, and then it just becomes like a mechanical execution reaction game, which is not so much up my alley, I think. I just find Wario Cup interesting because I think like it's an interesting sort of twist of making a bit more of a competitive mode to it. And like, I'm not competitive, but I do like to, I suppose, achieve things. Which is, it sounds like an oxymoron, but it's, I suppose I'd phrase it in a way like I like to compete against myself. I don't really care about competition against others or comparisons in that way. Which might be a bit more enlightening, might be even more confusing. I don't know. It sort of depends on who you are as a person, how much you, I suppose, you align with my own philosophies and that sort of thing. But yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, you're itching? Boof. Oh. I'm sorry, Audie. I thought you said you were... I literally saw the word itching and I was like, oh, she's got a flea on her. But alas, that's not the case. How much space we got? We need to catch one more bug, and I think we just want to see if we can get a a recipe. Yes, what was I saying? Yeah, I think the Wario Cup's a really interesting thing. So, like, so far it's only been out for like 3 weeks or so. But they've had... The first one I thought was an interesting one. Litter enforcement? I could inspire the next generation of fitness heroes through aspirational posing. I don't know what you were saying, you're singing about becoming a hero. Well, it depends what your quirk is. Ha ha ha. Oh yes, I do watch some Boku no Hero Academia. I'm still watching more of it. I've watched a few more episodes of season 4 now. I think I'm on episode 5 or 6. I can't quite recall. It's a blast. Having a great time. That's basically what I'm going to say about that. Yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the first Wario Cup they have, you're forced to play as this character called 9volt, who's basically just a gamer kid, but his mechanic is basically he constantly skateboards back and forth from the screen, and he can only fire upwards. So basically, you have no control over your movement. You only have control over timing of when you fire something. You have to have good timing. He's actually very fast as well, so it's quite difficult. This Wario Cup, they like doubled the speed of all the minigames and the amount of time that you have to react to any particular minigame. So basically the entire game is played on double speed, and you have to it's not a life-based system, it's something else. Is it you have to finish the entire thing as fast as possible? That doesn't sound right. No, you get scored basically on how well you do, that's right. And if you succeed or not or something like that. And honestly, it looked very amusing to me, and I was like, that's a pretty clever first Wario Cup, you know? High octane action, just get straight in there with a very difficult character and then speed up. I'm not sure if it's the best idea for the first Wario Cup, because, you know, ideally you want the first one to sort of like ease people into it, the first one being like so difficult, I suppose, off the bat. I don't actually know if it's that difficult, it's just like from my observations. You want to ramp it up, you know, that's a good thing like for like a third Wario Cup or something, but you know, that's pretty cool. The second one is what I thought the first Wario Cup should be, is a survival mode basically. You play 5 characters and you go as long as possible without dying. As soon as a character fails a minigame, they die. Quote, and you can never use them again. And it's basically get the highest score as possible. I was like, that's a pretty cool one. I'd probably like that a lot. It's sort of like a method of endurance, and you got to think carefully about your team. So you can pick 5 characters who, it's not you had to do them the minigames the best, you just have to do them most consistently, I suppose. Might be the best way to phrase it. Let's get some a tree, water, flowers, customize. We might actually be able to get 2 tickets in. I'm looking at the timing, because these missions, thankfully, have all been rather easy missions compared to previous ones. But yeah, the one which is going on right now is one which probably appeals, well, you'd think in theory it appeals to my sensibilities, but I think the breakdown of the meta of it doesn't feel like it appeals to my sensibilities at all. Basically, it's called the IQ test one, where basically some of the minigames are like you had to answer a question or you had to solve something, etc, etc. And this one is like you had to do 15 of them and you had to do it as fast as possible. In theory, being like, oh, you know, this is how you can test how smart you are, because you, in theory, if you're better at these sort of things and smarter at them, you'd be able to answer the questions faster. The problem is you can, for some reason, I think there's a bit of a weird design choice, is you can pause during these Wario Cup games. So the way to get the fastest time possible is to immediately pause as soon as the minigame starts, and thus your timer doesn't go down, and like make a recording using the Switch's built-in recording function, look at recording, answer the question, and then immediately execute it as soon as you're on pause, which I think like kind of goes against the spirit of the thing. And you might be like, hey, you know, if you had so much of a problem with it, you could just like not do it. Well, okay, for one, I don't even know the game, so I'm not going to do it like either way. But two, I'm like, I feel like you shouldn't be able to pause and be sort of like ranked. It's sort of like sullies the integrity of the game. of a challenge. You might be like, who cares? It's a game. I'm like, yeah, okay, who cares? If it cares, and like, why do anything? Like, just let people hack and that sort of thing. I feel like there's a genuine like intuition of what should be accepted and what shouldn't be accepted and that sort of thing. And like, pausing feels like it shouldn't be one of the things that you can do in this sort of game if you're trying to like have a leaderboard and that sort of system. But ultimately, of course, it doesn't actually matter, because you're only like differentiating yourself from like rank 131 from 130 doesn't make a difference. It only matters if you're in the top 1% or not. I don't know why I picked these up instead of just doing this. But yeah, I'm just surprised you can pause. Anyway, and another fundamental problem that ends up happening with this sort of thing is to get the highest score possible is basically get lucky rather than actually, you know, answer the question correctly and smartly, because it turns out from my observations, I don't know if it's actually true, but I'm pretty sure the best way to get the best score possible is to run some teams and just hope you get lucky on which character gets selected for some of the minigames, and for most of the minigames, just get lucky, just immediately randomly choose one of the answers and hope it's right. Of course, to get a world record like that, you need to be improbably lucky, which is why probably the favoured way is instead to use a pause trick. It's essentially the same thing. It's sort of like tilting the odds in your favour, except for it's not even tilting them, it's just putting the odds in your favour, but making your odds 100% for very little cost. So yeah, I'm basically, what I'm just trying to say is, I'm interested to see like how many gimmicks they can come up with these sort of things, because it's a thing with Isaac as well. They have these daily challenges, and there's quite a lot of like custom daily challenges depending on the day. Like there's one like on any day where it's got any sort of relation to fireworks. It's like normally you have to use bombs basically to get through the entire game, etc, like that. But normally some of them are just kind of bad to be honest, and some of them are kind of boring, and some of them are like, you know, obviously because even though Repentance has come out, they've stopped updating it for a while, because I mean they've had it for so long, I suppose, all these updates of making custom daily challenges they don't really need to do anymore, I suppose. So yeah, I'm basically curious how long we're going to keep this up. And I guess it's sort of like, in theory you'd be like, I don't really think I got it in them, but you know, if we're going to look at other previous games to really make judgment calls, Nintendo did keep the Splatfests in Splatoon going on for quite a while, like a year or something, like each week, or maybe more than a year the first Splatoon, and then maybe a couple years as well with Splatoon 2. And you know, it's basically as soon as Splatfest ends, you know that the next version of Splatoon, I suppose, is coming out, which is, you know, Splatoon 3's on the horizon. I'm sure you're very excited for that sort of thing if you like playing that game. It's not like, I do like Splatoon, but it's not like something I want to play all the time, I suppose. Maybe my tune would change if I had more people who I knew who played it, but I don't, so, you know, it doesn't really bother me, but I don't play it. It was a cool game, I will certainly say. But yeah. So, I mean, Nintendo does actually have a pretty decent track record with them. Apparently, not Audi. Vivian didn't want that cricket, but fair enough. They have a pretty good track record, I suppose, for some things of doing like these weekly events. And hopefully they treat the Wario Cup with the same decorum as Splatoon, despite the fact that Wario is not nearly as big a franchise as Splatoon is, or popularity-wise. Because Splatoon is popular, and it's also insanely popular in Japan, I believe. I'm not sure if that's actually true or not, now I think about it, but I think it is. I've heard it's very, very popular, and I don't know why, to be honest. Because shooters aren't all that popular, like shooting games aren't all that popular in Japan, I believe. They're much more popular in like as a European thing, and China kind of like them. Korea, do Korea like them? Maybe, I don't know. I've never analysed it on a country by country basis, to be honest. But yeah, I believe it's more popular in Europe, like you know how popular CS:GO is, and especially Eastern Europe, right? But yeah, so I guess it's sort of like a interesting take, and it appeals to what the Japanese gamers like more. I don't actually know, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, I'm curious to see sort of what gimmicks they can come up with. Like what gimmick would I like to see? Like I always like it when you play as all the characters, right? So if I had a gimmick, it'd just be like you cannot take out any of the characters. You had to play with all the characters, and you had to do something. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. Probably not fun. I'm trying to think how to organise my thoughts. I think this sort of challenge that I have in mind would be along the lines of like as popular as a 200 refund. Hold on, 3,900, 100. Okay, let's make free coconut things. We should be good to get 2 tickets. Sort of along the lines of the International Nothing Day on the Isaac Daily, where, you know, it's like a cool, it's like flavorful, you know, it's International Nothing Day. What's the concept? Oh, you get literally nothing throughout the entire run. You get no items or whatever, and you know, it just makes an incredibly difficult run and not a very fun one in the slightest. But like, flavors there. I'd be like, what if you somehow like rigged it such that you had like a set games and set pool of characters for each game, but the pool of characters that you can select for each game are characters who are not well suited for that game. Sorry about that little pause. I don't know what I was talking about. Something about WarioWares? WarioWares. I said something like, oh, wouldn't it be, oh yeah, like my own custom one, like just you had to use basically the worst character at each minigame. Or you had to play each character once, but you had to play the worst minigame or something. I don't know how you determine that or something. And it'd probably be no fun, because normally when you want to play the game, you want to feel good rather than be like, oh, I'm playing it and this feels bad because I'm forced to use a bad character. But everyone's forced to use a bad character for this minigame, you know? I thought that might be interesting. Maybe not. But I'm sure you can come up with loads of gimmicks. That's like what the game designers are probably doing. They're probably like churning out. They've probably got like the next like 12 sorted conceptually or something. And then, you know, probably implemented programming wise. Hopefully isn't too big a deal. I don't really know. Of course. I'm not on Nintendo's development team, so who's really to say? But yeah, basically the sort of gist that I'm going for is like, oh, you know, WarioWare seems kind of fun. Am I going to buy it? Nah, and I don't think I can justify the purchase right now. Not for a game that I'm like probably not even going to play all that much, but I think it looks cool. Like maybe in the future. You know, maybe not this version, but the next WarioWare that comes out on the next Nintendo console, which probably will be a hot while before the next Nintendo console comes out. I'm thinking the Switch has got sort of longevity that we might have. I mean, it's basically sort of the sort of next Wii for some people. I don't know. And you might be like, hey, but the Wii had a Wii U as an upgrade to it. Yeah, like no one owns a Wii U apart from me. I think I'm the only person I know who owns a Wii U. That's probably not true, actually. Now I think about it. It's probably like, of all the people I know, probably like 3 of us maybe own a Wii U. And I know a lot of people. Okay, I don't know that many people, but still. But amount of people I know who own a Wii. Almost every single person I know who would have who has a video game console has a Wii, which is crazy to think about, isn't it? That's just how popular and how ubiquitous it was. And now most people I know who have a video game console of sorts have a Switch, and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, did you see the Switch has got like a new online thing coming out or something where you can like, if you upgrade your package, you can play like 2 Nintendo 64 games or something that get released each month, which is, you know. Am I going to do it, you might ask? No, but if you want to do it, by all means. It might be more up your alley, but for me, I'm just like, it's not really my sort of thing. It's a bit weird. I suppose what we're going for is sort of trying to emulate PlayStation Plus, or what's it called, PS Plus? What's the PlayStation subscription service called? I can't quite recall. You are, I know you, Jade, I think. I'm not sure if that's right. The Snooty Elephant. Yeah, except for PS Plus or whatever, or PS Plus Pro. I don't actually know if there's a difference. It gives you the games for free. You just own them, and a huge amount of them. So I'm not particularly sold on a new Nintendo service, online service, but, you know, perhaps I'll be surprised by the actual outcome of it. I'll be like, whoa, this is actually super worth it. I don't know. Either way, I don't have that much nostalgia for Nintendo 64 games. The only one really being Pokemon Stadium and minigames, because that's the one I played most. Like, I played a bit of Super Smash Bros. On 64, and I played a bit of Mario Kart 64, but it's not like it's super nostalgic for me, because I was extremely young when I played them. Because obviously that console was before my time. The only people who had that console were some family friends who are older than me, or that sort of thing. And we didn't visit them all that often, because they lived kind of far away, and you know, there's a big age difference. Probably because they didn't want to hang out with that sort of thing. So it's not like I grew up with a Nintendo 64 or anything like that. But it could be interesting. I don't know. Who is the resident? It's you. Don't know your name. So we're just gonna leave. No fauna today. Perhaps fauna tomorrow. What's that person's name? I'm trying to think. I feel like I know that ape's name, but I can't record it off the top of my head, so maybe I don't actually know that ape's name as well as I thought I might have. But yeah, I guess we'll round off this episode here, right? WarioWare. It's a minigame collection of that sort of thing. And I guess we'll just be talking about all sorts of games now. That is the aim. But yeah, I mean, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me Dear Darling Discord. Follow me on Twitter down below. Hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.